Hey y'all, it's been a few weeks since I almost lost my entire Alocasia collection. Spider mites almost took them all out of here, but we're back and they are thriving. I cannot wait to show you. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Anaya, also known as the Vibrant Plant Mama. My channel documents my journey navigating motherhood, mental health, self-care, sobriety, and growing and nurturing my plant collection. If this is your vibe, please support my channel growth with a like, comment, or subscribe. Also, any of the products that I'm using or mentioning in my videos, I always include in the description box down below. So make sure you check that out when we're done. Let's get started. All right, you guys. So this video is going to be short and sweet. I just want to give you guys some updates on how my alocasias are doing. So I just was dealing with the worst infestation of spider mites, and I actually found spider mites in some of my other plants. My non-alocasia plants, which is pretty rare for me because normally like spider mites is like an alocasia thing. It's just something you have to be on the lookout for. But for some reason, I've been finding them on my other plants as well. And I've actually had to get rid of one of my, my philodendron campii that I was trying my hardest to revive. She was experiencing root rot. I had to give her away to the garbage because she was infested with spider mites really bad and she never recovered. Then I also have a Dieffenbachia, my only Dieffenbachia that I've had for a while, and I've been trying to like bring her back to life because she started growing very leggy. Then I propagated her and I sort of brought her back, but now she's back leggy again. So I really don't know what's going on, but that plant has spider mites as well, and I feel like I might have to give her away to the garbage as well. But it's totally normal for alocasia to get spider mites, and pretty much my entire collection was just eaten up. So I really, I was feeling a little bit discouraged, and I was like pretty much ready to just get rid of all of them. But I don't want to do that. I actually do like alocasia when they're happy. I don't like them when they're being sad and dramatic because they're hard to take care of. And it's hard and sad when they're only putting out like one leaf and then, or two leaves, and then they lose a leaf, like they're not upsizing and all of those shenanigans. So I didn't give up, and I'm so glad I did not give up because I have some really cool updates for you guys today. I have so many alocasias to show you. So I'm going to start with the littler ones. So usually need to check on all of this stuff. Okay. Okay, so I think maybe I did label everything. Okay. So I'm going to start with the smallest. I'll go from like smallest to biggest. So this here is an Alocasia Regal Shield. She is so cute and tiny, and she looks very healthy. None of her leaf is scorched or misshaped or anything like that. And I have her in a mixture of perlite and fluval stratum. And that is just like an experiment that I did because I know I have propagated alocasia in fluval stratum before and they really like that. But then I also propagate things in perlite. And so I was like, let me just try the combination. And they seem to be loving it. I have this combination of the fluval stratum and perlite in all of these little plants, and I have them in either a glass vessel with no drainage or self-watering pots. I wasn't sure if the self-watering pot situation was going to work because I didn't know if it was going to hold moisture the way that the glass vessel is, but they don't seem to be complaining. So that's the first one. She's an Alocasia Regal Shield. Next, I'm going to be honest, I don't even know which one this is. I had an Alocasia nebula that I had to take back down to the root because of the spider mites. She also wasn't upsizing. I had Alocasia polys and I had Alocasia regal shield. So I don't really know which one this is, and that's okay. I can see that her roots are doing pretty good, and I feel strongly that she'll put out a new leaf pretty soon. And then once she puts out the new leaf, I'll know what she is. So then my next plant is also undetermined, not yet to be determined. She's in a self-watering pot with fluvostrata mix and perlite, and she seems to be doing well. I just checked her. I'm giving this a little bit of pressure because I want to see if there's any like root rot or anything happen like that. And she feels very firm. She feels very firm. So I feel like she's alive and she's doing well. So I'm just going to keep her under the same conditions and hope that she puts out a new leaf pretty soon. So I have this one labeled as an Alocasia nebula. I feel like that should mean that this is a nebula, but who knows? I could have got the labels mixed up. I could have used an old cash cup that already had the label on there, or I could have been responsible and actually labeled her appropriately. Who really knows? But we'll find out when she puts out a new leaf. The next little one is labeled Alocasia poly. So again, she could be a poly, she could be a nebula, she could be a regal shield. We'll know when she grows, but she's also in the same fluvostratum mixed with perlite. And I gave her a pressure test as well. She feels very firm. So I think that means that she's still alive. She's not dying. She's not dead. She's not root rotting. And I should just keep waiting for her to put out some leaves. And then I am so proud of this Alocasia poly. I'm going to have to be honest. I think the Alocasia poly is probably my favorite Alocasia, at least the ones that I have in my collection. And the reason why is because look at the shape of her. Look at that. She's got these really waxy, beautiful, shiny leaves. And the shape is giving like royal, because the backside's purple and like purple for royalty. It feels very premium and empowering and fierce, because like this feels like a spear too. So this is my favorite one. She has not always been easy in my collection. Like I put out a lot of leaves and then I lose a lot of leaves with her. So I'm hoping she does better this time around. And then you guys, you can't even see my face. This girl blocks my face. This is crazy. This is madness. Like I have never owned an Alocasia with this big of a leaf. So I must be doing something right. I have to be. This is amazing. This is so beautiful. Oh my God. Wow. Nature is amazing. God is amazing. This is so beautiful. She has some water roots down at the bottom, but that's normal for self-watering pots. She's even putting out a new leaf. So let's see how she does. I'm so excited. I'm so glad I did not give up on these babies. We've got 3 out of 3. So 3 are growing, 3 put out leaves. The rest are still doing their thing. Maybe they just need a little bit more time. But now I'll talk about the sort of care requirements for these. I water these with a nutrient solution about once a week. I water the glass vessels when the self-watering pots go out, because I'm just like, I figure they might need more moisture about the same time that the self-watering pot is also running out of water. I fill it up with a nutrient solution. I use tap water. I use a water conditioner because we use tap water. I use a systemic pest control SNS 209, and I also add, what else do I add? Oh, plant food. And I also add Super Thrive, which is great for hydroponic setups. So that's how I water her. That's how I feed these. And it seems to be working out pretty well for me. I also have all of my alocasias now in one area of the house. I'm not spreading them around the house anymore because I really feel like they have been the cause of so much of my spider mite infestations. And I just cannot have that with the rest of my plant collection. Alocasias, because of how they grow, they can like die and come back to life and die and come back to life. Some of my other plants like take hits and they end up never coming back. So I really cannot afford to have these plants contaminating the rest of my collection. So I've moved all of my alocasia to an east facing windowsill where she's getting really, really bright east facing morning light from about morning to sunrise till about noon, 1 p.m. is when the light is like very targeted, but it's still, light. It's just not very bright after that. She's also under grow light. So I have a grow light nearby because I put all of my um, monsteras or towering plants in that east facing window as well. So she gets really bright morning light from the east facing window, and then she gets a little bit supplemented light from the grow light. And I don't open this particular windowsill because it's right in front of my plants. I know alocasias love humidity. I don't have a humidifier. I think my baby will totally destroy it. She's a year and a half now, and I have to be particular about how I set things up around the house. So I can't get too crazy with the plant setup stuff. I also just don't have capacity for a humidifier, refilling it, turning it on every morning in addition to all of my grow lights. So I just keep that windowsill closed so I can try to keep the humidity in that area up as much as possible. All right, I've got some more filling up. Okay, so I will start with up here at the front. I have another Alocasia Regal Shield. Okay, so I have an Alocasia Regal Shield. This is my Alocasia Adora. She's putting out a new leaf as well. And then my Alocasia Wentii. Okay, so everything is doing really well. If you will notice, I have all of these three in the clear self-watering pots. These are my new favorite self-watering pots. They're clear, which I like because I can see at all times how the roots are doing. I can tell if the substrate is wet. And then it's very easy to tell when you need to water. There's a cash cup at the bottom and you just refill that easily. If you need to take this off, you can. It's a little hard to take the cash cup off. You just got to put a little bit of muscle into it. If you need to like rinse everything out, you can do that. And I also particularly like these better than the other self-watering pots that I used to use because they have much more depth. And Alocasia need depth because they grow these really, really long cores. And if you put them in a shallower pot, then they're not getting as much support as they need. The next plant is my Adora. She's got some little baby leaves coming out. It looks like she's got a healthy size new leaf coming out as well. And then my Alocasia Wentii, she is the oldest of all of these. So I've had her for the longest. I've propagated her. So when I first bought her, the mama plant completely died, but then I found the little corm. I found a couple corms in the mama plant. I propagated those. This is the only one that lasted. This was many years ago, and since I've just been trying to keep her alive. This last round of spider mites, I had to scrap the entire plant and just completely start over. But now her leaves are even bigger than before. So she has made a beautiful recovery, and I'm very excited about her. Okay. I've got PTSD. Like any piece of lint, dust, cotton, I'm scared that it's gonna be freaking spider mites. I even had mealybugs on my caladium, and I didn't even know what a mealybug was. I thought it was spider mites, and I was like, these are some big ass spider mites. And then I found like, oh shoot, that's a mealybug. So I hope I got rid of those. But this is my collection, y'all. That's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please come again. I'm gonna have more repods, plant updates, life stories, and I'm definitely going to keep y'all up to date on how my alocasias are going. I don't know if I'm going to be adding any more to my collection after this because I'm a little traumatized, but I'm going to try to at least keep the ones I have alive. See you next time.